Well. Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with my co-host Eric Ballard. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, X, YouTube. You can also find me on juniorhockey.io, Victoria's Hockey Company. Eric can be found usually somewhere out in Wyoming under a snowdrift this time of year. Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Good morning, buddy. Yeah, we're getting hammered out here with snow, so it's going to be a white Christmas.
I'm dreaming. You guys didn't want to hear that mess. All right.
No.
So I like poking the bear, Eric, and in last night's article, I'm actually calling out the USPHL and Murray Gunty. Why? Because the North American Hockey League is now selling memberships for $1 million a piece. They got 6 new ones out there in the West for 26, 27. And Gunty's group, the USPHL, can pretty much do whatever they want. We're hearing about this USPHL sanctioned AAA coming down the pike for 16s and 17s. A lot more going on with that. So I came up with this idea yesterday, really long before yesterday, that the USPHL should just cut their losses. Right now, they got roughly 80 clubs across the continent. They've been absorbing teams from the EHL, absorbing teams from Canada, and right now, hockey's in such a massive disarray with the stuff of the NCAA and major juniors. So my idea, Eric, is to take the 80 teams, break them up into 4 regions, and let them all play each other. And let standards be gone, because no one follows standards anyway. So why not let teams finance their programs any way they want to? If they can draw 4,000 fans like Idaho Falls and can do free billets and no player fee, fantastic. If they have to operate like Frank Scarpaggi down in Florida, he's got to charge $15,000. The kids want to go do that, so be it. But I like the idea of breaking it up into 4 conferences this year, let them all play each other. Then in the second year, the top 10 teams, they break off and they have their own division. And the next 10 teams have their own division. And it makes more parity. It makes more equality. What do you think, Eric? Am I crazy or not?
Well, we know you're crazy. That's, I guess, a given. But I think the one thing that I would go to is if
Eric froze up. He was there. Hey, listen, someone hit the mute button on Eric Ballard there. What happened to Eric?
That's okay. It's normal. Am I back?
You're back now. Go ahead. Try that again. Tommy did not mute you.
Okay, good. I think without standards and guardrails and guidelines, you're going to have the New York Yankees in every quadrant, right? So you're going to have those programs that are going to be able to recruit players because they do 4,000 fans a game. They can provide billets. They can provide sticks, better transportation, so on and so forth. I think what you'll find that the rich will keep getting richer and the poor will get much more poor. But I like the concept. I think you have to look at a tiered system of some type, just based on some operators just aren't very good operators.
Well, you would get that, right? So the first year, it would be a wide open frenzy. But the second year, you'll break into 10-team conferences or more conferences if you have to, at some divisions if you have to at some point. But you would be able to elevate to the top division when you win your second division. If you're the last place in the top division, last 2 places, you're going to go down to the second division next season. I think it makes teams honest, really. And you're right. The cream's going to rise to the top. The Yankees are going to do really well. But they only have 20 roster spots. That's it, And it makes it easier. I think talent gets dispersed more. And some of these guys that do things really fantastically, maybe it does cost $9,000 to play there. But you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get taken care of. You know you're going to get ice time. You know you're going to get developed. And the guys that do that and are able to promote players to higher levels of play other guys are going to come out ahead every year.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's the greatest. I would agree with that, right? And just because maybe you have some amenities others don't, maybe you don't have solid coaching platforms, some stability.
Tommy, stop muting the poor guy. What are you doing, Thomas? I tell you, I pay this kid in peanuts.
That's all right. I think it might be my connection here. We got a little snow coming in. Maybe it's a storm.
I think he's doesn't like what you're saying. He's hitting the button.
Yeah, that's okay. They listen. It's called censorship at the highest levels, and you're one of the highest levels there.
Oh, that's dude.
So I think I really do believe that the game of hockey right now at the junior level is in completely disarray for a lot of reasons. The NIL, the CHL, NCAA, and teams are the richer teams are to get rich, but I think it's going to correct itself long term. But the USPHL and no player restrictions as far as imports, kind of a Wild West no holds barred is. I mean, in order for a tree to grow right, you got to prune it once in a while. Maybe that's where junior hockey is right now. Maybe we've got to prune the tree a little bit.
You have to wonder if some of these guys that are in lesser leagues, if they get the idea that they can jump ship and get into something like this and be able to operate freely, I wonder how many groups out of Canada are just going to say enough is enough and jump in and do the same thing. I wonder if there are any NA3HL teams, any more EHL teams, any more even North American Hockey League teams that'll see this model and think that might work better for us. And there's a lot of markets out there that are available and open that people are just not going to put really probably $2 million into a North American Hockey League team before you see a dime. You have to buy the membership, do your letter of credit, buy all your equipment, get a staff, do all those things long before you generate your first dollar. And maybe that less investment at $200,000 or $250,000, whatever Gunty's going to charge in the USPHL, maybe that's more fiscally responsible. I knew a guy once in California, middle of nowhere in California, in Fresno, that came out, was playing in a lesser league, in the Western States Hockey League, and calls me up and says, we're going to get a team in the North American Hockey League. I said, damn it, dude, who are you going to play against? Well, we'll figure it out. And that guy was this guy next to me, Eric Ballard. And Eric, and it's basically with the same concept. You built your program in the WSHL and had a winner, drew a lot of fans at Salem Arena. You guys were really the hot dog on the planet then. And then you went to the North American Hockey League, all things were equal and things changed. So maybe sometimes moving up wasn't the best idea. I think if you go back in time, now WSHL is long gone, but if you went back in time and you look at the fiscally responsibility of that, you probably would not have done the move to the NAHL because you guys are doing so well as major winners in the WSHL. And other places are like that. El Paso was also in WSHL for many, many years. They jumped into the North American Hockey League and holy smokers, it's not that easy. And you have to be successful to make a lot of money in this game, and teams that are successful do that. And Eric, you've seen both sides of that coin. What does it take for a team to make that move?
Well, I think you bring up a great point. The financial output out of the gate. The joke is, how do you become a millionaire in junior hockey? You start with two. And I think there's no question. You make a great point. In Fresno, we were very successful in the Western States Hockey League. We were 4,000 or 5,000 a night for the better part of most of our games, and fans really loved to see the team win. And we maybe put ourselves in a position to try to get to a higher level, thinking that would make a difference because it was a pro market for 60 plus years. In hindsight, it wasn't, because our costs, quadrupled, if not 5 times, because of our travel. We were going as far as Dawson Creek, British Columbia, Wenatchee, Alaska, and then we played, in the South in a few series in the Midwest. We even, my last year there, we did a 43-day road swing.
That was crazy.
It took us from Fresno to Washington to Alaska, Alaska to Jamestown, New York, Jamestown, New York to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and then a reverse back through Alaska, back through Wenatchee. We were on the road for 43 days. And I mean, financially, we just, we had really good ownership. We had great ownership, as a matter of fact. But I think that if you really want to see viable options in junior hockey, asking $1 million in a market that's not proven, asking for $1 million in plus for a franchise fee that you don't know.
There he goes. Look at it. It's right when he scratched his nose. You notice that, folks? That is amazing. Poor Eric.
There we go. But I think what you find is if you're going to invest in anything, if you're going to put $250,000 in, and you can recover that in 2 years as opposed to $1 million and never recover it, I think that makes a big difference. Again,
TikTok. Eric, I love you, brother. Now you're shaking a fist at me. That's amazing. There is just shaking
on here. I don't get it. Yeah.
Blizzard conditions in Wyoming. This is going to happen.
Yeah, we're lucky we got that. We're lucky we don't have analog and dial-up internet still, buddy.
Yeah. Remember when North Iowa, the Bulls there, and they got that new building in the 3HL? Todd Sandin was there just kicking everybody's butt year in, year out. Then they decided to put the North American Hockey League team there, move it from Amarillo to North Iowa. Todd was the coach, but then kind of like El Paso, all things were equal, and the success wasn't the same. Now it's a ghost. They're not doing very well on the ice. The fans aren't coming to the games. It's back to the old North Iowa days when they were in the NAHL before the team moved to Coulee region. It's all over again. It's hard to watch, right? But other markets like Rochester are seeing, and Granite City does a really good job. Helena, another example. These are all markets that probably can play at a higher level, but willing to take the chance to make a move in that direction. It's interesting. So, Eric, if you're Murray Gunty and you can move the chess pieces around like he's able to move them, would you suggest such a move?
Well, that's a great question. And Murray, I don't know him personally, but he's a pretty aggressive guy, and he's got a vision. I wouldn't want to try to step into his brain right now, but he's kind of capitalizing on the East, and I think it's only a matter of time before he takes over the Midwest and maybe even the West. So I think there's a lot of markets out there, and if your overall investment isn't at a high level, you're going to find yourself with ownership that's going to.
Poor Eric. He's jumped again. Oh, folks, we have run up against our time clock, if Eric can still hear me. Until tomorrow, Murray, don't get mad at me. Please don't chase the lawyers after me. Just a suggestion, not a demand. Until tomorrow, enjoy your morning coffee and have a great day in hockey.